Inshallah, today we'll continue off where we left, and we will be reading the points of interest on chapter 44. Uthman, the Prophet's son-in-law, major companion, and third successor, also decided to collect the Quran in one unified manuscript after consulting with the Prophet's companions. The Prophet's paternal cousin, son-in-law, major companion, and fourth successor, said these words about Uthman: "By Allah, he did not do what he did regarding the Quran except by agreement from us." Imams Bukhari and Muslim collected the Prophet's statement that the angel Jibril used to review the Quran with him once a year. But that year he said Jibril reviewed the Quran with him twice. This indicated the nearness of death. The Prophet ﷺ died that very year. As Imam Ibn Taymiyyah said in his fatwa, this final and most established review is the harf that Zayd ibn Thabit used in the copy of the Quran he collected. It is the harf Zayd was ordered to collect by Abu Bakr, Umar, and Uthman, three of the four rightly guided caliphs, and agreed to by Ali, the fourth rightly guided Khalifa, and the rest of the Prophet's companions. It is the same harf Uthman made the unified copy of the Quran all Muslims should use. The same copy all Muslims now have and use. The seventh method of reciting Quran, all of which were taught by the Prophet himself, were convenient for early Muslims and made the Quran easy to recite in their own dialects. Soon after the Prophet's death, the Islamic State expanded rapidly, and many Arab communities and non-Arab-speaking nations, such as the Turks and the Persians, freely chose to become Muslim and followers of the Quran and Sunnah. The Prophet's companions realized that if new Muslims and the rest of the Muslim nation did not unite and on one unified manuscript, differences and divisions of the Quran itself might appear. This is the reason they agreed with Uthman's decision to have Zayd's manuscript recopied and sent to all Islamic provinces as the one unified copy of the Quran that Muslims have and ever since have always had. Uthman completed the magnificent job of collecting the Quran in one universal manuscript by ordering all the other copies of the Quran be destroyed. Again, it should be noted that Ali said, "By Allah, he, Uthman, did not do what he did regarding the Quran except by agreement from us." This is why all Muslims now have access to Uthman's manuscript of the Quran. Only Allah the Mighty, the Glorious, can truly appreciate the tremendous service that Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, Ali, Zayd, and the rest of his companions did for the benefit of Islam and Muslims when they agreed to Uthman's decision to only use the manuscript that Zayd collected, chosen by the agreement to be the universal copy of the Quran. It should be noted that the other harfs of the Quran that the Prophet ﷺ taught to his companions survives until the present time, available in books of hadith and tafsir to scholars who use them to offer the variation meaning of the Quran text. For instance, Imam Bukhari and Muslim collected various parts of harfs in their tafsir section of their collection of hadith. Thus, parts of 7 harfs are available to all Muslims whenever they read hadith collections of Bukhari and Muslim. However, the copy of the Quran is available to all Muslims wherever they may be is exact replica of the manuscript. The intention behind burning the copies that used the other harfs was not to destroy them completely, but to unify the Muslim nation on one of the harfs the Prophet taught to his companions, thus making it available to all Muslims and preventing disputes in the Quran. Those who learned other harfs still use their harfs, but as stated, their harfs were no longer available to the general public. Because he so treasured the harf of the Quran, he directly learned from the Prophet. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud hesitated at first to agree to taking the Quraysh harf that the Prophet's companions agreed upon as the only harf of the Quran available to all Muslims. Imam Bukhari reported that Abdullah ibn Mas'ud said, "By Allah, I learned more than 70 surahs directly from the mouth of the Prophet." In his explanation on Bukhari's hadith number 4616, Imam Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani stated that Abdullah ibn Mas'ud also said that he took the rest of the Quran from the Prophet's companions. This indicated that Ibn Mas'ud also learned the other companions' harfs. They learned those harfs with the Prophet ﷺ. There are 114 surahs in the Quran. Ibn Mas'ud had wished that his harf was used in the unified copy because of the uniqueness of his harf, saying, "How do you order me to recite the way that Zayd ibn Thabit learned, when I learned mine from the Prophet's mouth, just as he did?" In another instance, Ibn Mas'ud complained that he was not entrusted with the job of collecting the Quran instead of Zayd ibn Thabit. When he realized that his harf was not chosen, Ibn Mas'ud hesitated in relinquishing his copy of the Quran, especially since he learned his harf directly from Allah's Prophet. Abdullah bin Mas'ud changed his stance later and agreed with Uthman's decision, which was agreed upon by the community of the Prophet's companions. It should be made clear that Abdullah bin Mas'ud never said that this manuscript is inaccurate. Quite the contrary. Imam ibn Taymiyyah stated in his fatwa that Umar ibn al-Khattab ordered Abdullah ibn Mas'ud to recite the Quraysh harf in public rather than the Hadali harf. Thus, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud publicly recited the same harf used in the universal Uthmani manuscript rather than the harf of his own tribe, the Hudar. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud has always had great love and respect in the hearts of the believers. He is worthy of love and respect, being one of the most knowledgeable companions of Muhammad ﷺ. The harf Abdullah ibn Mas'ud learned with the prophets of Allah ﷺ still benefits Muslims until this day. The author often uses parts of Ibn Mas'ud's harf that are established by authentic chains of narrations to expound on the meaning of various ayats in the Quran. What Uthman did was one of the miracles of Islam, the practical manifestation of Allah's statement, "Verily, we it is who have sent down the dhikr, the Quran, and surely we will guard it from corruption." It should be noted that the harf that Ibn Mas'ud learned was easier for his tribe, Hudayr, since it was in their own dialect. However, Uthman and the rest of the companions, including Abdullah ibn Mas'ud himself, later on agreed to use the Quraysh harf, which Zayd collected. The preeminent Arab tribe, Quraysh. They were the custodians of Kaaba, ruler of Islamic nation for 646 years after the death of the Prophet in 10 AH. They were also the Prophet's own tribe. The Prophet spoke the Quraysh dialect. Last Quran review the Prophet had with Angel Jibril was in the Quraysh dialect. The same harf all Muslims now have and have ever had since Zayd collected in the unified copy Uthman ordered him to collect was in the Quraysh dialect. Muslims agree that 7 harfs in which the Quran was revealed, all of them directly taught by the Prophet who reviewed the Quran from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through Angel Jibril, are all parts of Allah's divine revelation and contain no contradiction between each other. To the contrary, and as Imam Ibn Taymiyyah stated in his fatwa, the 7 harfs are unique to each other in the following 4 ways. Ahruf, various ways of reading the same word. This type results from the different i'rab, which is generally distinguished by the tashkil. And i'rab is pertaining to grammatic ruling of Arabic words and determines how words are pronounced, including what sounds there should be assigned at the end of the word. Marks placed above or below Arabic letters to indicate how the letters should be pronounced. Sometimes they're pronouncing and consequently writing the same word with different i'rab and tashkil marks. The meaning expands to include various meanings intended in the ayat. Here is an example from ayat 12 from Surah 37, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, بَلْ عَجِبْتَ وَيَسْخَرُونَ. May you, O Muhammad, wonder at their insolence while they mock at you at the Quran. If one reads a word that means wondered with a fatha at the end, عَجِبْتَ, it reads Ajibta and it means you wondered. If this word is read with a dhamma at the end, it would be Ajibtu, which would mean I wondered. The 2 meanings are true. In the first instance, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to his prophet, you wondered while they mock. In the second instance, the statement would mean I wondered while they mock. Using dots and tashkil helps modern day Muslims read the words of the Quran properly. Early Arab Muslims did not need these tools to know how to pronounce Arabic words properly. They pronounced Arabic words correctly and eloquently, since they came to them naturally. Ahruf, different words that mean the same thing. An example to this type of saying, Aqbil haluma ta'ala, to mean come. Aqbil halum ta'ala, mean to come. This is a very example that Abdullah ibn Mas'ud himself gave, as Ibn Taymiyyah stated, to describe this type of difference between various harfs. Ahruf also means using a different combination of different words that carry different meaning, where all the combinations are true and never contradictory to each other. An excellent example of this type is with the Prophet he said, when Ubayd ibn Ka'b who recited an ayat differently than how Abdullah bin Mas'ud who recited it. While a third man recited a third, different way. They went to the Prophet ﷺ, and Ubayd asked him, "Have you not read such and such ayat in such and such way?" Abdullah bin Mas'ud also asked the Prophet ﷺ, "Have you not read such and such ayats in such and such way?" After stating that they all excellently and beautifully, the Prophet ﷺ then said, "O Ubayd, the Quran recited to me in 7 ahruf. Each one of them is adequate and sufficient. Whether you said Ghafirun, Rahim, or Samim, or Sami'an, Hakiman, or Aliman, Hakiman, or Aliman, Hakiman. If you say any of these, then Allah is all of that. But do not end punishment with mercy, or mercy with punishment." Thus, part of the Prophet's statement here means, and as another narration for this hadith collected by Imam Ahmed in Al-Musnad explains that if an ayat is discussing Allah's punishment, then one does not mention at the end of it Allah's attribute to talk about His mercy, such as Him being the most forgiving, most merciful. If an ayat is discussing Allah's mercy, then one does not mention at the end of it Allah's attributes about His being severe in punishment. One should mention Allah's names and attributes in their proper context. Ahruf words are generally the same or from the same root, words similar in meaning in some aspect, but diverse in meaning in other aspects, especially if different tashkil is applied. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in ayat 222 in Surah 2, وَيَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْمَحِيضِ قُلْ هُوَ أَذًى فَاعْتَزِلُوا النِّسَاءَ فِي الْمَحِيضِ وَلَا تَقْرَبُوهُنَّ حَتَّى يَدْخُلْنَ. They ask you concerning menstruation. Say, that is an adl. Therefore keep away from women during mens, and go not unto them till they يتحرون. In the context of this ayat, يدحرون means are purified from their mens. This word shares the same root word as yadharuna, which in this content of this ayat means purify themselves from their mens, taking the required ghusl shower. Thus, both of these words have a shared meaning that pertains to purity. They both are used in the ayat. However, each of the two words have a distinct meaning. The first, yataharun, pertains to physical purity attained at the end of the men's period. The second, yataharuna, pertains to purity attained by taking the ghusl shower, thus allowing women to resume prayer. It should be noted here that Allah's mercy with women is profound. Muslim women are not allowed to pray during mens, but are also not required to make up for missed prayer because of the mens. Aisha has said, "We passed through this, and we were ordered to make up for the fast, but we were not ordered to make up for the prayers." It should be noted that as Imam Ibn Taymiyah stated in his fatwa, the order of the chapters in Ibn Mas'ud's copy and Ibn Zayd's own copy of the Quran was different than the Uthmani manuscript, since the orders of the chapter is a matter of individual judgment. However, the order of ayat in each surah is exactly the same, no matter the harf, because it is a matter of revelation. Ibn Taymiyyah also stated that, according to Muslim scholars, it is not required for Muslims to recite the Quran according to only one of the 7 harfs. All the 7 harfs come from Allah, are a part of the Quran, and were taught by the Prophet to his companions. The companions chose to make one harf available to all Muslims to avoid differences and division between Muslims and to make it easy for new Muslims who do not speak fluent Arabic to recite the Quran accurately. Inshallah, we'll stop here today. Tomorrow, in the next video, inshallah, we'll continue on to part 45, an example of Tafsir al-Quran. Assalamu, my dear brothers and sisters around the world.